And we're back with Survivor slash reality hot takes. It is me, Coach Drew. Today I'm going by "Let's shake on it," which, as we all know, is a phrase that most people love to use in not only Survivor, but Big Brother, and just in regular everyday life. And in regular everyday life, when you shake on it, it's usually an unwritten agreement that you're agreeing to whatever you're shaking on. The problem is when you play Survivor or any online games or anything like that, shaking on it shouldn't mean much. And this is going to be a relatively quick episode because you can't really talk much about it. It's just that I just recently finished rewatching Survivor Panama, and Terry continues to bring up the fact that people break handshake promises that they make during the game. And it's frustrating because it's almost like people lie. It's such a crazy concept, right? That someone would break the honor of a handshake um, in order to further themselves in a game for $1 million. Even if you go all the way back to shoot, if you go back to Borneo, Rich and um, I think everyone in that Tagi alliance had some type of handshake agreement, but him and Rudy absolutely did, and Rudy didn't break it. And I feel like Rich probably would not have broken it, and he was able to find a way out of that situation anyway at the end. Um, but even looking at Frank in Africa, where they're playing Never Have I Ever, and he's like, "Oh, I've never broken the honor of a handshake." It's like, all right, bro. Um, and so you go down, the history of the show, and you see people that put a lot of stock into the fact that they entered into a handshake agreement with people. Now, I understand, I'm I've said it plenty of times on here. I'm a very big advocate of the social game. And I do think that if you're going to enter into a handshake agreement with someone that will probably put a lot of stock into that handshake, you probably don't want to screw them over. Or if you do, you want to do it in a way where they don't realize what you did until you get to the end. Um, because you're putting yourself you're playing with fire in a situation like that. And Panama, you have Danielle. I think she has two handshake agreements with Terry and breaks both of them. So I mean, I don't think she would have ever gotten Terry's vote anyway, but opinions and all that. But definitely after breaking handshake agreements with him, uh, you can't put yourself in a situation with people like that, where they value that type of agreement even in a game worth $1 million. That's a hard deal to get out of. And so the question becomes, is it wrong of these people to put so much emphasis on things like a handshake or swearing on their kids or anything like that? And I mean, in my opinion, I say no. Obviously, I would do pretty much anything legally and not weird, to win a show like that. Um, I'd swear on a whole bunch of things, and I'll shake hands with anyone. Um, but I also know how to do those kinds of things without, you know, potentially rubbing them the wrong way. Now, if they get rubbed the wrong way, that is all on them because they should have known what they signed up for. But if I want their jury vote, yeah, I should probably. Oh no, I can't shake hands because the last person. Just make up a lie on why I can't shake hands, so that you don't have to lie to get out of it later. And you know, the question, and something that I do want to touch on here later, like just down the line later, on if someone can be a noble winner. Someone can be honest all the way to the end of the game and win. Um, I mean, my opinion is probably not. But there have been instances in the show's history where people have made it far by just being overly honest, mainly because they're usually playing from the bottom and all they could do is be honest, or at least try to. But down the line, I do want to talk about uh, if there if there is a chance that someone like that could eventually win the game, or will people, shit on them in the end and say, "Oh, well, you weren't really playing because if you were, you would have lied about this, that, and the other." That's a whole another can of worms for another time. But yeah, it's been interesting rewatching, especially the older seasons. But it carries over into the later seasons where people will shake hands once and say something, and then later on, someone will be overly bitter at the fact that I shook your hand and you did this. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. Like it's I don't every time that happens, I might turn it into a drinking game now that I think about it, because it happens all of the time. And it's usually, there's definitely an archetype, the handshake archetype, and everyone kind of knows what I'm alluding to. You could look at certain people throughout the show's history and say, oh yeah, they all fit in the same category for the most part. I already named two, and Terry and Frank. You guys can figure out the rest. Um, so I'm interested to see how many handshake agreements we will have going into Survivor 41, or on Survivor 41, which at the time of recording this is a week away ish. Um, I will be in New York City for it. I am pumped to be among my own. And if I'm out at a bar during the premiere, I probably take a shot or two per handshake deal that people make. Um, but yeah, as we get closer and closer to the premiere, it's just these are the types of things, like on top of, yeah, I'm excited for Survivor to be back and all that other stuff. What I'm most excited to see is some of these things that I've started to pick up on, on my constant rewatches of the seasons. It's like, wow, people do shake on a lot of stuff and do put a lot of stock into this. Um, so I'm interested to see how much of that comes back. And yeah, so this will be my second to last episode before the premiere. So for the last episode before the premiere, I want to do something relatively big. Maybe try to invite most of the guests that I've had on here in the past 5 months, just to prep for what is to come in in the next few months. And then we will be, the Sunday after the premiere, it will be me joined by a weekly guest, and we will be going over things like handshakes and how we think people performed in the most recent episode and all that. And I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, though I won't say it'll be a panel, because there have been two panels, pre 41 panels, I'm pretty sure, or there will be by the time the season comes out. So I won't say it's necessarily a panel. It'll just be more of a thanks everyone. Let's do it again sometime type thing. So other than that, just keep in mind that I don't put much stock into people shaking hands on Survivor, and it'll never not be weird to me that others do. Specifically fans that are just sitting there like, oh man, he shook his hand. He promised him that he'd give him the necklace if he gave him the truck. There's still people that still get upset over that, over the Yao Man Dreams thing. People still get annoyed over that. Like, he's such a horrible person. Is he? Oh God, these people are terrible. Um, the cesspool just it never fails. It never fails. But we are going to cut it there. I want to appreciate you guys for tuning in to this 11-minute episode. Next week will definitely be longer by a lot. Not by a lot. Um, but I appreciate you guys listening to this mini rant on something very trivial when it comes to Survivor, but it's been on my mind, so I wanted to talk about it. So until then, we will see y'all on the other side.